Divine warning, 3 miraculous signs of a heavenly trap revealed for your supernatural deliverance. Emma's heart raced as she read the words emblazoned on the parchment, golden light fluttering around the ancient oak trees of Cotswold. Whispers of old collided with the wind, raising the tiny hairs on her arms. It felt like divine revelation wrapped in grace, calling out to her in an urgency unlike anything she had ever experienced. 3 miraculous signs, she breathed, as the warmth of the late afternoon sun dappled her skin, the atmosphere growing thick with anticipation. The first sign unfolded one fateful evening as she watched Liam's laughter echo in their garden, a vibrant child, full of life. Suddenly, he collapsed, a blanket of shadows swallowing the joy. Panic surged within her, she felt the piercing sting of fate reaching out. Doctors were baffled, their faces a maze of confusion, while Emma knelt by her son's bedside, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Oh, dear St. George," she whispered, "please hear my prayer." In those aching hours, a fiery warmth enveloped Emma as she drifted into a dream. It was vivid. There, she found herself in a golden meadow, just beyond the reach of clouds, where a voice, full of power and love, urged her attention. "Beware the snare of doubt lurking amongst your people." Shadows loomed, threatening to sway hearts away from faith, but around them danced symbols of hope and love, 3 radiant signs of divine promise. The second sign emerged during a morning assembly at the village church. As she prayed, the congregation's voices intertwined in unity, soaring effortlessly like the sacred chorus above. Yet, Emma sensed something concealed, a flicker of doubt growing like weeds on fertile ground. She could see it in their lingering glances toward the medical books and scientific logs that sprawled on the church pews. Her heart sank. Would they heed her call? In this moment of growing tension, she thought of the community she adored, of their laughter and shared hymns. With an impulse fueled by sacred courage, she stepped forward, rallying her fellow parishioners to center their hearts in prayer for Liam's healing. "Join me," she implored, "let us not let these shadows weave doubt into our faith." Each voice began to align, echoing through the sacred halls like fallen leaves whispering in love's embrace. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The final sign would arrive with unexpected urgency. The skies darkened, heavy rain fell, and with it, a thunderous uproar of chaos. A catastrophe struck their village, one that would demand the full measure of her faith. And oh, did it shake her to her core. Emma felt her spirit tremble as doubt clawed at her heart, threatening to blot out the flickering flame of hope. But as the tempest roared, she remembered those 3 signs, the warnings thrumming at her soul. Eyes squeezed shut, she whispered desperate prayers, calling forth the community to rally once more against the rising waves of despair. What would unfold? Would the village unite to embrace the miraculous every time they knelt to pray, or would darkness snuff out the flame of faith? Emma stood at the crossroads, her heart a battleground of belief. With Liam's life hanging in the balance, and the village's very spirit at stake, what would she uncover next along this divine tapestry? The winds shifted, urging her forward. It was time to unravel the truth hidden within those miraculous signs. As the storm raged on, Emma clutched her rosary, its cool beads grounding her in the chaos. She could hear the distant cries of villagers echoing through the tempest, tiny voices raised in shared fear yet seeking refuge in prayer. Each bead slipped through her fingers with urgency, each prayer interwoven with desperate hope. "Lord," she breathed deeply, "hold our hearts steady. We need you now more than ever." The sky turned dark, mirroring the turmoil inside her. But amidst the storm, she felt a flicker of light, the promise that these trials would reveal a deeper truth. Suddenly, a powerful clap of thunder jolted her back to the present. It was then she understood, the final sign was not just a warning, it was an awakening. The divine was pushing her, calling her to move with purpose. She raised her gaze toward the chaos swirling outside, her heart igniting with a newfound strength. "Let us gather by the old oak," she called, her voice rising above the noise. "We shall pray together, we shall sing our faith into being." Emma felt a warmth envelop her as she stumbled out, making her way through the downpour, her heart bold and unwavering. Around her, parishioners emerged from their homes, eyes wide with confusion yet drawn by the magnetic pull of unity. Some carried lanterns, their lights flickering defiantly against the ever-growing darkness. Each step they took ignited a spark of divine resilience within Emma. This was not a moment of defeat, it was a declaration of faith, an affirmation that they would not surrender to despair. As they gathered under the sheltering branches of the old oak, the atmosphere shifted. The sound of rain pounding the earth faded, giving way to hushed whispers of anticipation. Emma could feel the energy growing, their collective heartbeat resonating with hope. She led them in song, and their voices rose harmoniously, a heavenly chorus reaching toward the heavens as if inviting divine intervention. "Fear not, for he is still with us," she proclaimed, her voice rising above the melody. "In these moments of darkness, we become the light. Hold fast to your faith." Witnessing the unity around her, Emma felt those three signs echoing in her heart. Each sign served as a milestone on this journey of divine preparedness. This was their moment. She closed her eyes, surrendering to the divine flow. The golden meadow from her dream appeared again in her mind's eye, and the voice whispered, "You are not alone, my beloved." At that moment, something miraculous began to happen. The great oak above them shimmered, sparks of light danced contrary to the torrential rain. It was as if the heavens opened, blessings pouring down as the wind echoed their prayers back like a joyful serenade. Gasps of awe mixed with joyful cries as villagers realized the beauty unfolding before them, but then Emma felt a tug at her heart, an unsettling thought rippling through her tranquility. What awaited them once the rain ceased? Would they return to the mundane, forgetting the fire that ignited within? Beneath her faith, a question emerged: what could the next chapter of their journey hold once the storm passed? Emma's heart pounded with anticipation. The storm tested them, yes, but this wasn't just a trial, it was an invitation to witness transformation. Could they rise above? Their faith deepened. As the final note of their song hung in the air, Emma opened her arms wide, ready to embrace whatever divine revelation awaited at the horizon. What was the true meaning behind those miraculous signs, and how would they change their lives forever? The winds shifted once again, and it was in that moment that she sensed powerful, unseen forces converging on their village, calling them toward a destiny they had yet to uncover. Amidst the shimmering light, the villagers stood transfixed, their eyes reflecting a mixture of wonder and hope. The great oak, aglow with otherworldly brightness, revealed not just the beauty of creation, but also the power of collective faith. Emma felt her own spirit lifting in harmony with theirs, and a deep warmth radiated through her as their songs cascaded into the air. "Look!" shouted Samuel, a farmer known for his unshakable faith. He pointed toward the branches of the oak where vibrant sparks seemed to form incandescent shapes, archangels dancing, hands reaching down, blessing them all. "God is with us." His voice mingled with others, rising above the storm as praise for the divine became a tapestry woven in the wind. The air was thick with an atmosphere charged by presence. Emma looked around, noticing tears glimmering on the faces of her friends, disbelief giving way to certainty. God's promise echoed in their hearts. This isn't just a sign, she thought, this is a miracle that calls for action. Let us not only celebrate this moment, Emma called, her voice ringing with resolve. Let this light guide us to be reflectors of His grace. We must carry this spirit beyond these trees into our homes, into our lives. This unity, this love, this hope, it cannot vanish with the storm. As she spoke, she saw a shift in the crowd. Where fear had once crept in, now a wholesome courage took root. They listened, nodding, spirits reviving like flowers that reach for sunlight after a storm. She sensed the power of their collective faith awakening something deeper within them, flickers of purpose igniting one by one. The rain began to relent, gentle droplets now nourishing instead of threatening. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting a golden hue across the gathering. Emma felt the warmth seep into her skin, filling her with an inexplicable peace. It was a kiss from heaven, reminding them all that God's presence was unfaltering. "Let us share our stories," implored David, a quiet man who often stood in the background but now stepped forward, emboldened. "Let us share how our lives have been touched by grace. We can be vessels of hope for those who are still lost in despair." With every story shared, the flames of faith flared brighter. They spoke of struggles, loss, heartaches, redemption. Each testimony wove a thread into a larger tapestry of divine love and resilience. The villagers' voices echoed with authenticity, a beautiful chorus of life experiences that resonated with truth. Emma listened, enchanted by the strength that grew among them. Each account was a brushstroke in a larger picture, and she understood then this was the call. This journey was not merely about surviving the storm but transforming their lives through faith. They were being drawn into a mission much larger than themselves. "Lord," she whispered silently, "you've stirred our hearts. We are ready. But reveal to us, what comes next? What purpose have you prepared for us, and how can we serve the calling, carry this light into the lives of others?" As the session ended, a hush settled over the congregation. The sun now fully emerged, creating a cascade of light that softened the edges of the world. Each person stood transfixed, gazing at the heartening sight above them. Emma's heart fluttered with anticipation. They had taken their first steps into something radiant, something miraculous and unknown. But even as joy swelled within, uncertainty lingered, a reminder of the journey ahead. What awaited them beyond this divine experience? Were they truly prepared for the path that lay ahead, one lined with purpose and challenges? Just as she pondered, a sudden rush of wind blew through the clearing. A divine whisper seemed to ripple through the air like electric anticipation. The adventure had only just begun, and the horizon held secrets yet to be unveiled. The wind danced through the clearing, a majestic call echoing off the ancient oak's branches. Emma closed her eyes, letting it swirl around her. Her heart raced with the presence of something greater, something drawing them beyond mere celebration into purposeful action. "Emma," Samuel's voice broke through her reverie. "What now? Where do we go from here?" His eyes were bright with expectation, and she could see the flicker of uncertainty hidden beneath the surface. "That's what we need to discover," she replied, her voice steady yet tinged with awe. "Perhaps we should seek out those who've yet to feel this light within them. We cannot sit idly, basking in this moment, we must share it." The villagers murmured in agreement, each face alive with renewed hope. The sparks of inspiration danced like the ether around them, igniting their hearts as they considered the possibilities. "What if we visit the elderly by the river?" suggested Mary, her childlike wonder lending weight to her words. "They're often alone, and many have lost faith in hope altogether." "A wonderful idea," Emma exclaimed, feeling the spirit of community swell. "We can bring food, sing, share our stories. It might light up the darkness they carry." Eager nods and enthusiastic voices filled the air. Plans formed, and willingly they divided into groups, each carrying pieces of that divine whisper into their hearts. As the villagers dispersed, Emma found herself drawn back to the oak. The ancient tree stood silent, yet alive, like a sentinel in the unfolding narrative. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered. "For this guidance, for connecting our spirits. Show us how to be your hands in this world." In that moment, something shifted, the air thickened, charged with a heavenly presence. No longer was it just a gentle breeze but a wind that sings. She felt a message moving, flowing like water, urging her to listen closely. Vision blurred as a series of images cascaded before her, families reunited, laughter echoing, joy unbridled. But then, shadows crept, a flicker of despair, a cry for help, echoes of loss that weighed heavily within the hearts of many. The images gave way to a solemn realization. "We may not be enough on our own," she murmured, eyes wide with understanding. "But with God, we can lift the broken-hearted." Suddenly, Her thoughts coalesced around an idea, a mission that went beyond charity. It was about confronting the very fear that paralyzed their community. Emma gathered herself and hurried to find the others. As she ran through the village, she weighed her words like precious stones. She wanted to steer their united spirit toward restoration, to lift the veil of darkness that often clouded the minds of the weary. "Everyone, please," she called once they reconvened. "What if we confront our own fears? What if part of our calling is to face these shadows down at the river? We need to pray, intercede for those lost, share the truth we've just discovered." Gasps of concern rippled through the crowd. "But what if we fail?" asked David, his voice trembling with sincerity. "Failure is part of faith," Emma replied, her heart steadying with conviction. "But imagine if we succeed. A light could pierce through the darkest corners." The miracle today was a reminder that we are not alone. The villagers exchanged glances, a spark of courage igniting once more. "All right," Samuel said, stepping forward. "Let us go together. We'll let God lead us." With hearts ignited and voices joined, they set out as a ripple, ready to embrace the call. Yet, as they reached the riverbank, unexpected silence enveloped them, a thick fog settled in, seemingly wrapping them in mystery. What awaited them in this sacred space? Would they encounter the divine connection they sought, or would fear confront them in ways they couldn't imagine? The fog lay cloaked along the riverbank, heavy and thick like a shroud. Emma and the others stood at its edge, hearts beating together in an uncertain rhythm. The usual sounds of the river water rippling, birds soaring overhead seemed muted, as if even creation paused to perceive the unfolding moment. Emma took a deep breath, feeling a warmth gather around her like a radiant embrace. "Let us pray," she said gently, yet firmly, breaking the stillness that had fallen over the group. "We're not alone in this." She motioned for them to join hands, creating a circle under the dim, yet touching, glow of the fading afternoon light. As they closed their eyes, she lifted her voice, "Heavenly Father, guide us now. Give us strength to face the shadows that seek to shroud our hearts. We know you are with us, in the midst of this uncertainty." As Emma prayed, something shifted. Light flickered through the fog, intricate patterns shimmering like a divine tapestry. It was as though the very air vibrated with purpose. She opened her eyes to see her friends' faces illuminated, some wet with tears, others radiant with hope. "Look!" Mary exclaimed, pointing toward the water. "Do you see that?" They turned as one, gasping in awe at the sight before them. The river, in that moment, seemed to take on a life of its own. Each ripple reflected the light, transforming the dreary fog into a kaleidoscope of colors. Golden yellows, soft blues, and vibrant reds danced upon the surface. It was as if the river was calling them, beckoning them to step deeper into the mystery. "What does it mean?" David whispered, squinting as if he could pierce the veil of fog with just a look. "I think it's a sign," Samuel said slowly, his voice steadying with newfound conviction. "A sign of hope." Emma felt a rush of warmth envelop her heart. A thought gripped her, igniting a realization within. "Remember the visions I saw? Families reuniting, the lost finding hope. Perhaps this fullness we see reflects what God is ready to do here, if only we trust." Just then, a gust of wind rushed through the clearing, swirling around them like an invisible hand. A whisper brushed against her ear, indistinct yet compelling. "Face the shadows, look." Mary cried out again, her excitement contagious. "There is something in the water." The villagers leaned closer, peering into the shimmering depths. There, emerging from the rippling stream, rose an ancient stone, etched with words that glistened as if gilded in gold. A collective shiver ran through them, wonder mixed with trepidation. "What is it saying?" Emma asked, straining to read the inscriptions through the mist. "It looks like..." Samuel's brow furrowed as he deciphered the symbols. "It says, 'Fear not the darkness, for I am with you, a light into your path.'" A hush followed as the words settled over them, wrapping their spirits in divine promise. Each soul felt a stirring, a connection to something monumental. "Maybe this is our calling," Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper as she traced the stone's edge with her finger. God is asking us to embrace our mission, to share His light with those burdened by the darkness of fear and loneliness. The crowd was electric with hope now. They stood taller, united in their newfound purpose, and yet a lingering unease simmered beneath the surface. What is truly hidden in the fog? David asked, eyes gleaming with anticipation. Emma looked toward the river, the fog still thick and mysterious. Whatever it is, we need to be prepared. The light is here, but so are the shadows. As they contemplated their next steps, an unexpected whisper emerged from the fog, echoing around them like a haunting refrain. To follow the light, one must be ready to face what lies beneath what was waiting to be uncovered in this sacred space. Would the light guide them through, or would daunting shadows cast a weight they could not bear? Emma's heart raced at the gravity of the moment. The weight of the ancient stone's message lingered in the air as they stood, awash in a blend of awe and apprehension. The fog seemed to pulse, alive with the unspoken truths of the universe. What secrets did it hold? Let us not just stand here, Samuel spoke, his voice steady yet trembling with anticipation. We have to discover what God wants us to know. That whisper, it calls us to action. The group nodded, forming a tight circle of unity. Emma felt a surge of conviction as she led them deeper into the unknown. Each step took them further from the safety of the shore and into the mystical embrace of the fog. Stay close, Emma encouraged, her voice a soothing balm in the surrounding silence. Remember the light. It will guide us. As they ventured forward, the air thickened around them, almost tangible in its presence. A faint glimmer flickered in the distance, momentarily breaking the encroaching shadows. The water's surface shimmered with ethereal light, revealing hidden depths beneath the mist. David reached out towards the glow. What is that? He muttered, captivated by the radiance that beckoned from within the river. It feels like hope, Mary replied, clutching her heart. But hope can feel daunting too. Her eyes sparkled, reflecting uncertainty mixed with faith. Hope means action, Emma declared with unwavering purpose. Let us go closer. They approached cautiously, every heartbeat echoing in their ears like divine drums, urging them forward. As they neared the glow, an overwhelming sensation washed over Emma, filling her with clarity. It was the liminal space between fear and faith, where miracles began and shadows lurked. Suddenly, a cascade of soft luminescent bubbles burst from the depths, rising like prayers sent forth. Each one carried a melody, whispers of promises and stories lost to time. The visions came alive before their eyes, glimpses of families reuniting, weary souls finding rest, laughter mingling with tears of joy. Emma gasped, overwhelmed by the beauty. God is showing us the fruit of our faith. This is what we're fighting for. But then, a chill swept through the air, seeping deep into their bones. The light flickered, and a low ominous hum filled the fog, threading through their hearts like a warning. Emma, what if we're not ready for what lies ahead? David's voice broke, laden with fear. What if the shadows overwhelm us? Remember the promise, Emma replied, grounding herself in faith. I am with you, a light into your path. We cannot let fear silence that truth. As if in answer, the glowing bubbles began to burst, and ethereal shapes rose from the river, translucent figures, glowing with divine light. They surrounded the group, filling the space with an overwhelming sense of peace. Each spirit radiated love, pushing back the shadows inch by inch, revealing more of the sacred secrets hidden in the fog. Samuel looked around, wonder painted on his face. This is a reminder. They faced shadows too. They found light, we can too. Keep moving forward, Emma urged, her voice an unshakable anchor. We must seek what God has set before us, but we have to trust our strength and His guidance. As they pressed on, the fog thickened once more, twisting like a living entity, and the ethereal figures began to dissipate, leaving behind a lingering warmth but also uncertainty. The path ahead darkened again, an echoing whisper mingling with the river's song, seek the signs, but beware of the shadows. What awaited them now, and would they find the courage to confront what lurked within? Emma felt the weight of destiny on her shoulders, and as they moved further into the unknown, one question hung in the air: what miracles awaited those willing to face their fears? The fog clung to them like a thick blanket, wrapping around their limbs as they pressed onward, the pulse of the river a constant companion. Emma felt her heart quicken, not just from fear but from an electric anticipation. Each breath became a prayer. The time had come to be brave, to embrace whatever mysteries lay ahead. "Do you hear that?" Mary whispered, her eyes wide as she strained to catch the sound that threaded through the fog, the gentle lapping of the water now mingling with something deeper, a melody that felt ancient yet alive. It spoke of grace and trials. "I do," Emma replied, nodding towards the dim glow that still flickered in their vision. They could almost reach out and touch it, the promise of light against the engulfing darkness. But a weight settled in her chest, an unshakable reminder that they were stepping into the unknown. "See it as a beacon," Samuel encouraged, glancing back at the group, his voice warm and firm. "It represents our faith. No matter how dark it gets, faith is the light we carry in our hearts." As he spoke, the warmth of his assurance spread through Emma, igniting a spark of hope. The glow grew stronger, casting shimmering reflections on the rushing water. It painted their faces with luminescent strokes of silver, illuminating their resolve. But the shadows shifted uneasily, looming larger, and Emma felt their presence as a whisper in her ear, a reminder of doubt, of fears they depacked without knowing. "Stay together," Emma urged, feeling the group compress closer, ready to take on whatever awaited. They were not just individuals now, they were one collective heart. "We can't just go blindly into this," David said, his voice quivering with hesitation. "What if we're inviting something dangerous?" "Faith always involves risk," Emma replied, her words firm. "But isn't that what believing in something greater means? We walk trusting that God will guide our steps, even through the shadows." Light flickered, and with it, Emma saw a figure emerge from the mist, tall and radiating warmth. It was an ethereal being, both luminous and serene. As it approached, a deep sense of peace washed over them, wrapping around their fears like a warm embrace. "Do not be afraid," the figure said, its voice a gentle echo that reverberated through their very souls. "You are not alone in this journey. Each of you holds the light of faith within, and it will guide your steps through the darkness. What do you want from us?" David's voice was thick with emotion, a mix of apprehension and yearning. The being's eyes sparkled like distant stars. "You seek miracles. What you must understand is that miracles are born from faith that persists even when shadows loom. You have to confront your fears to reach the light." As the Spirit spoke, Emma felt a release within her, realizing that their fears were not barriers but the very gates leading to revelation. She looked around at her companions, noting their rapt expression, hearts ignited by the truth they were hearing. "Each one of you will face a trial," the figure continued. 3 signs shall reveal themselves, each guiding you to deeper understanding and strength. Embrace these moments, and you will find your path clearer." Emma felt her heart swell. "Signs? What kinds of signs?" she asked, her curiosity piqued, burning brighter than her fears. "Listen for the whispers, watch for the movements. They'll appear when you least expect it, but they will be unmistakable," the being replied softly before fading back into the mist, leaving a lingering glow and a sense of promise. As they stood in reverent silence, the shadows remained, but something shifted within Emma. She could feel a lightness in her spirit, a reassurance that despite the uncertainties, hope was truly alive. "What if the signs lead us to something we aren't ready for?" Mary questioned, her voice trembling with concern. Emma took a deep breath, emboldened by the divine presence they had encountered. "They might lead us to change, to transformation, but isn't that why we came? To discover what God has in store for us." With each step forward, hope became tangible, alive with possibility, as they braved deeper into the fog. What would these signs unveil? And from the depths of their hearts, one question emerged, echoing through the mist: was their faith enough to embrace the change that awaited them in the unknown? The fog thickened once more, swirling around them like a living entity. Each step Emma took felt heavier, yet her heart raced with the thrill of what lay ahead. As they advanced, a soft rustling began to fill the air, a sound that crept beneath their skin. It was almost as if the world around them was alive, beckoning them deeper. "Is it just me, or does it feel like we're being watched?" Mary said, her voice a whisper of anxiety. The group halted, eyes darting around, uncertain if it was fear or intuition that stirred within them. "We need to focus," Samuel said, his resolve unwavering. "The signs will come. We must be patient and trust." The air shimmered, and without warning, a gust of wind swept through the trees, parting the fog just enough to reveal a fragile path illuminated by tiny orbs of light, floating like fireflies. Each one pulsed gently, almost beckoning them forward. Emma felt her heartbeat synchronize with their glow. "Look!" she exclaimed. "Maybe these are the signs we were promised." Fear was still present, but hope began to rise like dawn breaking over a long night. "Are we sure we want to follow some glowing lights?" David's voice slipped into skepticism, tinged with caution. "What if it leads us into danger?" "Sometimes, to find truth, we must embrace a little risk," Emma countered, feeling the gentle tug of her spirit toward the luminous orbs. Each light was a promise, a beacon of hope amidst the confusion. With a unanimous nod, they moved toward the path, the lights swirling around them like stardust. Emma felt an unexpected warmth envelop her, as if her faith was being tested, yet rewarded with each step. She turned to her friends. "Trust in the journey, guys. Let our hearts lead us." As they walked the shimmering path, the first of the three signs unfolded before them. An ancient tree loomed ahead, its bark worn and weathered but majestic. Suspended from its branches were dozens of delicate ribbons, each inscribed with words of wisdom and prayer. "Look! These stories are everyone's hopes, fears. It's like they're sharing their faith with us," Mary exclaimed, her eyes wide. "We should read some." They gathered beneath the tree, touching the ribbons. Words like courage, healing, and forgiveness stirred deep emotions in their hearts. Emma's fingers brushed against one that read "Trust in the Unknown." Tears sprang to her eyes. This is it. A reminder that we're not alone. Others have walked this same path and found strength in faith. We can do this together. David stepped back, taking a deep breath. It's incredible. Each ribbon feels like a challenge but also an invitation to leap forward. Just then, a rustle came from the shadows behind them. A soft, melodic voice began to chant. It was an echo of praises, filling the air with a sense of divine connection. The whispers resonated with Emma deeply, stirring her soul and fanning the flames of her spirit. "What is that?" Samuel asked, glancing around cautiously. Curiosity mingled with a touch of fear gripped them all. "I think it's the call of our purpose," Emma replied, her voice steadying as she stepped toward the sound. "Maybe it's a test of our willingness to listen, to dive deeper into our faith." The melody ebbed and flowed, creating an atmosphere charged with a sacred energy. Each note felt like a nudge from the heavens, guiding them along. As they stood in reverence, Emma realized they must still embrace their fears to unfold the next sign. "How do we know when we're ready?" Mary pondered softly. Emma nodded at the tree. "Perhaps the signs are about choice. It's about being brave enough to confront whatever lies ahead. It begins here, with us." And as they exchanged determined glances, the sound crescendoed into a glorious harmony, reverberating with divine purpose. The second sign awaited them just ahead, but in what form would it emerge? What lesson would be unveiled next in this sacred journey? With hearts racing and hope renewed, they took another bold step forward into the unknown. As they stepped onto the path, the atmosphere grew electric with possibility. The radiant lights danced eagerly in the air, swirling around them as if to encourage their movement. Each step felt like walking the line between fear and faith, the essence of the journey stitched into every heartbeat and breath. "Emma, do you feel that?" Mary said, her eyes wide as she took in the surrounding beauty. "It's like the air is alive. Absolutely, Emma replied, her spirit buoyed by the promise of something more profound. This is just the beginning. Whatever awaits us next, we will face it together. The harmony from earlier still hung in the air, an echo of the divine presence they had sensed. Emma's heart raced as they approached a clearing. There, before them, appeared a sparkling fountain, its waters bubbling with joy, glistening like diamonds under the soft glow of the orbs. "Look at how beautiful it is," Samuel whispered, captivated. The fountain seemed to whisper its own secrets, and it stirred an undeniable urge deep within each of them. As they approached the fountain, they could see the shimmering water reflecting all the colors of the rainbow. The melody from before now transformed into a soft babbling, inviting them closer. Without thinking, Emma reached out, her fingers dipping into the cool water. Instantly, a rush of warmth washed over her, filling her with a sense of peace and clarity. "What if it's a trap?" David asked, his brow furrowed with concern as he peered into the swirling depths. "That water looks enchanting, almost too good to be true." "Maybe it is here to cleanse us, to prepare us for what's next," Mary suggested. "We must discern its purpose." Emma nodded, taking a deep breath. "Perhaps this is the next sign we seek. It's not just about facing our fears anymore but understanding their depth, allowing ourselves to be transformed." With hearts synchronized, they each placed their hands into the water, letting it flow over them. The coolness became a rush of exhilaration. They closed their eyes, the sound of the fountain blending with their rhythmic heartbeats. Then came a voice, a soft, sweet whisper that echoed around them. "This water is a reminder of renewal. Drink, and embrace what you fear. Only through surrender can you fully rise." As they looked at one another, the weight of those words settled among them. With newfound determination, they each cupped their hands and sipped from the fountain. The water tasted like pure joy, imbued with the essence of hope. It flowed through them, washing away fears and insecurities, leaving them lighter and more connected to one another. Suddenly, the lights began to swirl erratically, beckoning their attention. From behind the fountain, the trees rustled as if some unseen force stirred within the foliage. "What's happening?" Samuel asked, stepping back, the thrill of the moment replaced momentarily by trepidation. Emma felt a surge of excitement. "The final sign is upon us. We must be ready to embrace whatever is revealed." Just as she spoke, a blinding light erupted from between the trees, and before them appeared a figure cloaked in luminescence. It radiated warmth and love, a guardian spirit urging them forward. "What do you seek?" The figure's voice boomed softly, yet resonantly. "Are you ready to step into your purpose?" Emma swallowed hard, her heart pounding in anticipation. They had come so far, but were they ready for this next chapter? The air thickened, tension hanging before a promise yet to unfold. It was a question that lingered, echoing through their minds as they gazed at the figure. Was this the moment of decision, the moment their fears would either cradle their faith or crush their hope? "What must we do?" Emma asked, her voice steady despite the tremor of uncertainty, and even as the glimmer of possibility flickered bright, the revelation of their journey hung before them like a sacred tapestry waiting to be woven. What response would birth their next miracle? What decisions awaited their courageous hearts before the final sign emerged? The fog dissipated like a fleeting dream, revealing a scene imbued with divine glory. Emma and her companion stood before the radiant figure, hearts pounding as they faced the culmination of their journey. In that moment, the essence of their trials distilled into clarity, illuminating the path ahead. "We seek purpose," Emma declared, her voice unwavering, resonating with the courage that had carried them thus far. "We want to embrace our mission, but we need your guidance." The air shimmered as the figure stepped closer, radiating a warmth that enveloped them like a divine embrace. "Each of you carries a unique light," the being said, its voice a harmonious blend of love and authority. "But remember, to step into your purpose requires not just faith, but also the readiness to confront your own shadows." Emma's heart raced. Shadows, those lingering doubts and fears that had taunted them throughout their journey. The word resonated deeply within her spirit, echoing the whispers they had heard along the way. Trust in the process, the figure continued. Embrace the light, but also acknowledge the darkness within. This is how transformation begins. As the Spirit spoke, Emma felt the weight of its words sink into her very being. She closed her eyes, reflecting on the events that had led them here, the miraculous signs, the flickers of hope, and the collective faith that had brought them closer together. We have faced doubts and fears, she confessed, her voice trembling yet firm. But with each trial, we have grown stronger. We have witnessed the miracles that can emerge when we unite in faith. Yes, Mary added, her voice rising. But now we must understand how to act on this newfound purpose. We can't just keep it to ourselves. A wave of agreement spread among the group, each heart ignited with the urgency to fulfill their calling. The being nodded, a gentle smile gracing its ethereal features. You must reach out to the shadows, the lost souls waiting by the rivers of despair. Your village, your community, they need the light you carry. In confronting darkness, you will bring forth the miracle of hope. With those words, Emma envisioned families reconciled, laughter echoing in the streets, hearts mending, and lives restored. Hope swelled within her, chasing away the last remnants of fear that clung to her heart. We will do it, she proclaimed, her voice strong with purpose. We will share our stories, our faith, and reach out to every soul aching in darkness. This is our call to action. As Emma spoke, a pulse of energy surged through the crowd, igniting their spirits and inspiring a unified fervor. Within that moment, each of them felt tethered to a higher purpose, an unstoppable force of love ready to cascade through their village. Then go, the radiant figure urged, and shine brightly. Let your light pierce through every shadow. With that commission echoing in their hearts, Emma and her companions turned, walking back into the village as a united front. Each step felt like a march of faith, the grace of God guiding their path. The sun had emerged fully, encasing the village in vibrant light, revealing the beauty of the world anew. Emma could see the faces of neighbors, many still gripped in shadows of uncertainty. Together, she urged, raising her arms as they gathered around her. Let us spread hope. Let us share our testimonies of what we've experienced, and let these moments of divine signs provoke renewed faith in this community. As they approached their homes, each villager listened intently, eyes brightening with the embers of hope reigniting in their hearts. Stories were shared like wildfire, laughter blended with tears as love flowed freely among them, bridging gaps of isolation and fear. "Oh, dear Emma," one villager exclaimed, tears glistening on her cheeks. "You've brought the light back to our hearts. And we are not done yet." Emma smiled, her heart dancing with pure joy. This is just the beginning. Together, we will illuminate every corner of darkness. No longer were they scattered or alone, they stood as a constellation of light, fierce in their mission, ready to face whatever awaited them on the horizon. The final sign had unfolded, our purpose realized. With divine resolve entwined in every heartbeat, Emma declared, we will not turn back. This light will carry us forward. And with that, the village found new strength, the shadows dissipated, transformed into a beautiful tapestry of life woven together by faith, hope, and courageous love. As they joined hands and sang, the echoes of their voices filled the air, resonating with the promise of miracles yet to come, a living testament that when hearts unite in faith, divine transformation is always within reach. The adventure had come full circle, but the journey was just beginning. Embrace your path, dear friends. Remember that together, we can shine brighter than any shadow. Do not forget to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm. Comment your testimonies and reactions to this powerful ending. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. You need to show your support. Don't wait even one more second. Your steps of faith matter.